Welcome to Tony Unleashed, the podcast where we unleash the truth about all things pets.
Our research and anecdotal evidence matched with pet expert interviews will help you help your pet thrive.
We are here to answer questions, divulge information, and spread awareness about what's really going on in the world of pets.
I am your co-host, Emily Taylor, pet nutrition enthusiast.
And I'm Tony Shalasky, owner of Healthy Pet Products with 3 locations in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and recently expanded to Port Charlotte, Florida. Welcome to the show. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Tony Unleashed, the podcast. And today we are going to talk about my dog, Desoto. And he has been having some skin issues, which we have mentioned in the past couple of episodes briefly, but Em is going to
interview you.
Yeah.
About it.
It's a pretty
transparent episode.
Interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, I think this will really just help everyone understand that it's almost inevitable to prevent anything from happening to your pet. I mean, they're just animals living in this world just like we are, and things happen, and nothing can be predicted or prevented.
And no matter what you do, your dog is not necessarily invincible.
Yeah. And I think it's really important for people, especially like us, who really love to talk about health and wellness and feel like we're doing really great things for our dogs, to discuss things that maybe don't go right all the time as well.
Yeah.
I think that's just important and a part of life.
I think it's also a pretty good lesson in having to be an advocate for your pet.
Yep.
So that will all come full circle for you as you are listening. So
just briefly go over real quick: age of Desoto, breed, any prior health issues, and what he currently eats. I know we've mentioned it before, but it's good to just bring it up again.
So I adopted Desoto from Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Utah in November of 2016. He is a red heeler. They estimated his age at 3 years old when I adopted him. So he is in and around the 10-year age. I think it's pretty accurate. And he is a raw-fed dog. So as soon as I got him, they fed at the time Instinct kibble at Best Friends, which is a good kibble. But he was transitioned to raw overnight when once he got here. I rotate through supplements. He's never had any health issues whatsoever in the 7 years that I've had him.
Well, other than his knee or his hip issue.
Well, yep, that's completely unrelated. He when Best Friends got him from another shelter in Utah, he has a dislocated hip, and all of his toes on that same hip are broken. So they think that he maybe was hit by a car as a stray, and it healed as he was a stray. So he is what he is, but he manages very well. I, of course, have him on In-Clover Connectin, the best joint supplement on the market, and he does fine. You'd never know it. So other than that, he has zero skin issues. Excellent coat, never has ear infections. His teeth are good. His stool is good.
He looks great.
Yeah, he's on the mend now for sure.
Okay, so with that being said, when did you first notice that something was off with him? What were the initial symptoms that caught your attention? And then how did they escalate? Did they get worse? Did they stay the same? Talk about that.
So I first noticed symptoms in August, and he was scratching and licking and chewing in various spots on his body, which is not typical of him. He never scratches, he never chews, he never licks.
I mean, I even remember sitting here one time and he was on the couch and he was like physically pulling fur off of himself. It was crazy. It was like I've never seen it before.
Yes. That is, and it progressed. And when I started noticing him literally grabbing onto his skin and trying to pull his fur out, which he did, One thought was anxiety and stress because August was the last time he had seen Bo. So I thought maybe it was the separation because Bo and Bob lived here for a very long time, and DeSoto was used to Bo being around. So maybe it was a stress.
And you had some housework done too.
Oh, correct. So I was having remodeling done in the house. So I thought it could have been, a combination of those things or,
Because he's a dog that doesn't really like men per se.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very attached to you.
Yeah.
So like changes he can be sensitive to. So, I mean, that was a contributing factor.
Very much so. Very much so. And did they kick up dirt and dust that he could have reacted to? So that's where my brain went for most of it. Or potentially food allergies, which I didn't think there was no way in hell it could be possible.
And there was also really bad air quality as well.
Mm-hmm.
There was the fire in Canada.
Yes, I forgot about that.
So we were also concerned about that, like maybe, something like that was causing a reaction as well, along with, the never-ending global warming potential.
What about
season.
that train wreck in Ohio? When did that happen?
Oh, yes. And the train wreck in Ohio. I don't remember, but that was bad.
But they're still studying air quality from that.
Yeah, that with the fires in Canada.
To be honest, I don't think I will ever truly know how this all happened. But at first, I started to treat it as food or possible seasonal allergies. So how did you treat that? I did. I switched to rabbit, which is a cooling meat. So if a dog is allergic environmentally or anything, they're typically considered a hot dog. So if you feed cooling meats, it should temper that allergic reaction. So I started to feed raw rabbit. I switched from bone broth to goat's milk because the raw goat's milk from Answer's pet food acts like a natural antihistamine. So nothing was helping. And then he started to get bald spots. And he'd get a bald spot. I think his first one was on his elbow.
Wow.
And then he'd pull all the hair out and rub it raw, and then I'd get it healed and keep a cone on him, and then I'd get that healed, and then another spot would start. So it literally was traveling through his body, and he'd keep us up all night, and it was extremely stressful. It got to the point that I need help. Nothing I'm doing is helping. I did colostrum. I did the Animal Essentials tincture from seasonal allergy. I did Bragg's apple cider vinegar in case it was yeast-based. I did Phytosynergy from Adored Beast.
So then, is that at that point, is that when you suspected that it might be more than just a common skin issue of allergies and stress?
I think, yes, when it got to the point that...
At one point you texted me that he looked like Sweet Pea, and I feel like that almost was a turning point for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was in denial. I think when it's your own dog, like if somebody else, a random customer or you or anybody would have come to me and told me what was going on with their own dog, I would have been like, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
But when it's your own dog, I don't think you look at it as objectively. Even us that are in the thick of it all the time. But deep down, I was like, this is not normal. Something is wrong. So I ended up taking him to the vet, and she said it was food allergies, and it was so bad, and he was so raw in some spots that I was like, she recommended Apoquel, which is an immunosuppressant. And you all know by now that I am very anti-medication, or, you use it as the last resort. But we did it. And so that's what happened. But still, deep down, I was like, there's no way.
I mean, that would have, I feel like if you and your gut honestly did think it was a food allergy, and you were like, okay, let's just get Apoquel to get over the hurdle. And like, that's what I needed to hear. Now I know how to take the steps to get over this without Apoquel. It would have been different. But I think it sounds like you truly didn't think it was a food allergy. So hoping that Apoquel would kind of get him feeling more comfortable, but knowing that there was needed to be another answer. Because I remember you were seeking a second opinion around this point as well.
Correct. So I did the Apoquel, and it's an immunosuppressant. So I'm so embarrassed to tell everyone this, but so you start on they started him on 2 pills a day and then taper down to 1. Mm-hmm. So he got better. And then when we tapered, I was like, he started to get worse again. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I'll just kick it back up. Mm-hmm. Not even thinking, because it wasn't prednisone. So I thought I could do it. So then I run out of his pills and I go to get it refilled, and the pharmacist wouldn't refill it. And I was like, well, why not? They're done. And she's like, well, according to the dosage instructions,
it was supposed to last longer.
You should not be through this medication yet. Yeah. And I was like, oh. And she said, I will not refill it unless your vet changes the dosage instructions. So I called while I was at the pharmacy and told them what was happening. They put me on hold, checked with the vet. The vet changed the dosage instructions.
Wow, right there on the spot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then I go for a second opinion. And I didn't go for a second opinion because I didn't necessarily trust my current vet. It's a far drive, and Desoto is terrible in the car, and I'm so fucking busy that I was just like, I'm just going to this vet. And I've known her forever. And
I don't think second opinions hurt. I mean, if anything, I feel like we advocate for people to get second opinions.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But, it wasn't my initial. So I go in and tell her what's going on. And she says, you're giving how much Apoquel? And I told her, and she's like, okay. She's like, I need to make a phone call. So she called the other vet. She comes back in, and she said, you are double dosing him. He is overdosed on this medication. Uh-huh. She was very concerned.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh. So she said, well, clearly it's not working. So do you want to try a cytopoint injection?
Yeah.
So
this vet did agree it was a food allergy.
Yes.
Okay.
So still in my head,
you're like, it can't be.
This is that, but we were miserable. We were so miserable. He and I both, because it is so stressful. I mean, your dog just constantly either in a cone or licking and chewing, and he looked so sick. Like he truly. You probably remember what P looked like when you first in their eyes droop.
Yeah.
And he looked so sick.
Yeah.
So I did the Cytopoint, and then, I'm talking to all my people, and Ashley, I showed pictures to, because that's when he started to get bald on his rear hindquarters. And Ashley's like, that looks like mange. Mm. She did.
Wow.
She did.
And no one scraped him for mange.
No skin scrape whatsoever has been done yet. No mention of mange.
They didn't even scrape him, because I know Sweet Pea's gotten tests done on the yeast.
Yes.
None of that?
None.
Okay.
None. And I mentioned it. I might have mentioned, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to the first vet.
Yeah.
And I got poo-pooed.
Wow. So how did you get the mange test done then?
So after Cytopoint, I waited 4 days, and he continued to decline. And I called and I said, this is not working. Mm-hmm. And she said, okay, we can try prednisone. So I'm on the hamster wheel.
That's my hamster wheel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And we talk to customers all the time that are on this hamster wheel of drugs.
Yeah.
So we tried prednisone. And I'm talking to.
Did it work, the prednisone?
It helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helped. But you could still tell that he was not right.
Right.
And I'm talking to Carolyn as well, and everybody. And Carolyn is my grooming manager. She worked for 30 years at Northview Vet next to Dr. Pardo and Dr. Beebe. They are two very intelligent, very well respected vets. They're the ones that started PVSCC.
Wow. Okay.
The Pittsburgh Veterinary Specialty and Emergency Clinic, the first one in Pittsburgh. So great vets. So Carolyn, just from working side by side with them, she's a wealth of knowledge. But she was like Ash. She's like, we all were kind of like on the same camp. Something's not right here.
Right.
And so then after a couple of days of prednisone, I was like, I said, I want a skin scrape done. I insist. So I go back and she does a skin scrape, and she literally came back in 1 minute and said, it is sarcoptic mange.
Wow.
Very evident.
Wow.
So just
ivermectin?
So okay, let's back up just to educate our listeners about there's two types of mange, sarcoptic mange and Demodex mange.
Yeah.
Sarcoptic is the contagious type of mange.
It's like scabies.
And is a zoonotic disease that in humans is called scabies. So zoonotic means a human can get it from a dog. And Demodex is there a different, what's that mite called? Do we know? Well,
I think it's what I understand with Demodex mange, and this is when Sweet Pea used to get a lot of skin scrapes for mange. How I understood it is a mite that is common in, like, dogs can get it, but it's how if their immune system is not able to fight it off.
Correct.
So if they have a suppressed immune system, that's when they start getting the symptoms. But it's very common in most dogs to come across this mite in their life and not have a reaction to it, and it's not contagious.
Correct, and that's Demodex.
Yes.
So Desoto has sarcoptic mange, which Desoto goes nowhere near any other dogs. He doesn't go to dog parks. He doesn't go to boarding facilities. He is dog aggressive. He doesn't even leave my neighborhood. He will go to the grooming shop occasionally to get his nails done. His only time outside of my site is the fenced-in side yard, which is right off the deck, which is what?
And the pet sitter, though.
So Jerry only walks him in the neighborhood. He walks the same route that I do. So we have 2 streets in this neighborhood. They have no other, because I told them, because he goes from house to house to house.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're not worried about it. We're fine. Nobody else, none of our other clients have it. So, some theories are, did he come across a rabbit in the side yard? Because rabbits can carry it, or a fox.
Where Tony lives in the woods. I mean, we're in the woods, so we're not like in the city where that's not out of the question.
Or is it possible that Bo had it on him, and when they saw each other in August, Dee couldn't fight it off, but Bo didn't get... That's a stretch, I think, but...
That's a stretch, yeah, but...
Now, and then Carolyn has another theory that maybe he did have a food allergy. The Apoquel suppressed his immune system, making him more susceptible to contracting mange. And maybe that's how him brushing up a dead, we walk sometimes, and he picked up a dead rabbit head once.
Yeah.
Or you can tell some animals have been killed by fox or whatever.
Or, could someone who was working on your house have brought it in? But he wouldn't go near them.
He kind of is around them.
Yeah. Wow, that's so...
I'll never know.
Interesting.
Which is maddening.
Yeah.
I will never know. And there's an odor to mange, which you can relate to from Sweet Pea. So, and he still has a little bit of that odor. So he is getting better. But I talked to another vet that's a customer of ours, and she's been a vet for 25 years. And I told her the whole story, and she's like, Tony, she said, I have seen one case of mange in 25 years. Dr. Nikki, my current vet,
Yeah.
she has never seen a case of mange. She's been practicing for 20 years. She only knows of another vet that she's friends with that has treated a case of mange.
Wow.
And the other vet I talked to, same deal. Carolyn, that worked at Northview for 30 years.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I might have seen one case. It's nuts.
Wow.
So the treatment for it, although it should be ivermectin, because of COVID,
Oh, no, everyone's doing ivermectin. Yeah.
it has a stigma on it now because that is the best medication to use.
Wow.
Same with in humans getting
Yeah.
scabies, ivermectin is the go-to.
Yeah, because that's what when I first adopted Sweet Pea, that's what they were pumping her with, ivermectin.
Did she ever have heartworm?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So we didn't get ivermectin.
What'd you get?
The drug of choice now is Brevecta.
That makes sense because that's what we give dogs in Puerto Rico.
Yes. And I did Google it, and it is highly effective. But the funny thing is, Dr. Nikki, my current vet, the one that diagnosed him, she doesn't carry it. So she said, I don't want you to wait to have to start treating this. Let's do a NexGard, which can help. And then she said, just order the Brevecta online. I'll give you the script for it. So he had, this dog has been so drugged. So he had the NexGard. I got the Brevecta in 5 days. I gave him the Brevecta right away. And then he gets a monthly dose. His last dose will be January 18th or something.
Wow. And then you'll be done with it. You're not going to use it again.
I don't plan on using it again.
Okay.
I mean, I might, to be on the safe side, maybe do another dose in February.
Yeah.
But you can tell, he's clearly...
Yeah. Wow. Wow. What a journey.
It's fucking nuts.
That is nuts.
Totally nuts.
For the one dog all of these vets have seen with mange, it's your dog.
Yeah. Yep. Raw fed.
So are you going to do a detox from all the meds that he was on?
I probably should, but what would I do? You should see the amount of supplements I give him. He's been getting a raw egg since this all started. He's been literally getting a raw egg every single day. He's on raw pork. I'm actually doing solutions right now just because we accidentally got it in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he gets the Flora 4 from Carnivore. Mushrooms from...
Wow.
What's our favorite? Whatever our favorite one is now.
Real mushrooms.
Real mushrooms. I'm doing Adored Beast liver tonic.
Oh, well, that's a detox. That's a gentle one.
Yeah. And I've been kind of pulsing it.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah. Wow. So what does this new vet say about raw?
She doesn't care.
How did you find her?
So when she opened her practice, at least 50, it's got to be 20 years, which is my neighbors when I lived on Perrymont Road went to her.
Yeah.
And I think she might have come to a party of theirs and we were at a party together. She's super cool. She's young. She's in her 40s probably. And she knows me. So, and a lot of people are like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe this is a stretch, but my old vet, I walk in the door and they're like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Even Dr. Doug was kind of like, what are we doing, Tony?
Yeah.
And Nikki, kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they think that because I know food
Yeah.
that they follow my lead and don't, or I have a really,
Just presence that it's like, I know my dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
And my reputation does have a tendency to precede itself. So I don't know.
Huh.
But no, I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Did they do any blood work? Have you gotten any blood work done on him?
No. And
Okay.
that was another thing I requested because I wanted to check thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
And that was poo-pooed.
Mm-hmm.
And a year ago, he had just had a full senior blood panel done, including,
okay.
and
That was, it was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah.
And through the whole thing, I think that his anxiety has gotten worse. And
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair because I think that's probably like one of the first. I mean, I feel like as an outsider, and I'm way more on the outside, you're not one to be like an emotional person or like really show your stress or your feelings.
Right.
And I think over this situation was the first time really anybody has seen that side of you. Maybe including DeSoto to some extent. And because how close he is to you, maybe he probably picked up on that.
That's a pretty good point.
Because I know how stressed out I get when like Sweet Pea's like at a really bad point in her life. And I mean, I lose it, and it's hard.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And now I know how my customers feel that come in and say, "Oh, my dog is just chewing and chewing and chewing, and it keeps us up at night." And I'm like, "Oh, it can't be that bad."
Yeah.
Well, it's bad.
Yeah, it's so annoying. I mean,
and to hear the
licking, I can hear it from across the room, and it's like, "Swimming!" Yeah, and it's just like horrible. I mean, even when he was licking here, I'm like, it was like at the early stages of it, and you weren't that like in tune with it yet. And I'm like, DeSoto.
If he starts to lick now,
yeah,
I look at him and he's like he immediately like his ears go down, his tail goes down.
Yeah,
he's like, what?
Sweet Pea too, like if you're in the same room with her, she knows not to do it.
Yeah.
But the second you maybe go into a different room, she's like, okay, got to get this itch out real quick.
Well, and then your brain goes to, oh, fuck, is it starting again? Or is something happening?
Yep.
Like,
yeah, it's so stressful. Wow. But can you imagine how many dogs out there, like, maybe do have mange that are just being treated for with Apoquel and aren't getting better?
I can't even imagine.
That has to, there's no way that there aren't other dogs out there with mange that are just getting treated with Apoquel. Because how much longer, if you didn't say that and if you didn't ask, how much longer would he have been on Apoquel, Cytopoint, prednisone?
Oh, if it weren't for the amount of hair loss, I can't, I mean, I should probably, what could we do? Post the pictures somewhere?
Yeah, definitely.
Like Facebook or Instagram as a follow-up?
Well, it can be with the episode.
Okay. Yeah. You guys need to see this. I mean, the poor dog his bum was bald.
So I guess this brings us to the end of the episode, but also to the point where advice you would give to people. And I mean, my initial thought and reaction to after hearing the story is like, it doesn't hurt to fucking Google shit.
I know.
And to just maybe ask friends. Like, I know none of us are vets. None of us are vet techs. None of us have, but like Ashley.
Yeah. Ashley called it.
Yeah.
Ashley totally called it. And probably that had to be at least a month before diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not saying that if your dog is exhibiting food allergies and scratching and licking and chewing, we're not saying that your dog might have mange.
No.
I think that the moral of the story more is you really have to pay attention to your dog. If something doesn't seem to make sense to you, you really have to vocalize that. If your vet's not hearing you, go to another vet, go to your local natural pet food store, throw some ideas at them, see what they can come up with. And, doctors and vets don't know everything.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
And
I think part of it was I didn't want to be that person that thought my dog's invincible because my dog is raw fed.
Yeah.
And non-vaccinated, and I don't use chemical flea and tick. So his immune system should be at the ultimate. His body condition is at the optimum that it could possibly be. So I didn't want to be that person to say, not my dog. That can't be mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's why I went with it.
Mm-hmm. But also it should be I think that's a really fair reason for you to have been like, it can't be food allergies. And it can't be that problem.
And that's finally what I said to Nikki. I said, Nikki, there's no way this can be happening. This dog, and he continued to decline.
Yeah.
If he were leveling, I think it would be different. But when I would bathe him, the amount of hair and skin that was coming off was unreal.
Yeah. Anyways, any closing notes?
Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust your gut.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
And I think what I will say real quick is I felt like this in various ways, and I'm sure you felt like this in various ways. And doctors are worked, they're probably overworked. They see a million things. They're in their own world, as we are in their own world. So you doing your research is bringing them out of that world and into a mindset that's different than maybe what they don't generally think of. So it doesn't hurt. And I don't think anyone should feel embarrassed for asking questions that might feel dumb or just, common sense, because we all need help getting pulled out of our own mind space and into a repetitive pattern of thinking. So, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Mange.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we will have pictures so you all can see of DeSoto at some point soon.
And you can ask if you can catch Tony at one of her 3 locations here in Pittsburgh. You can ask her all about it.
Or I'll be in Florida
Or Florida.
Yeah. Florida's Healthy Pet Day is February 3rd.
So Florida, Pittsburgh, Cranberry, South Hills, and North Hills.
Yeah.
You might be able to catch her and talk more about this. And actually give us any if you have any if you have a similar story, please share it with us. We'd love to hear it. All right. Talk soon.
Bye. We want to give a big shout out to our sound engineer, Brad, from Beacon Sound Systems, LLC. This is the highest quality sound editing, and he knows exactly what to edit. So it's his fault the F-bombs are still in there. You can reach Brad for all your sound editing needs through
Instagram and Facebook. You'll follow at Beacon Sound Systems. Website, www.4beaconsound.com. Phone number, 724-471-2410.
Beacon Sound is a locally owned company in our neck of the woods here in Pittsburgh, PA. So if you're in need of large LED screens, stages, lighting, or sound systems for any occasion, big or small, this is the company for you.
Sounds like a party in one.
And boy, do we need one.